All right.
Well, thank you, Tori, and it's great to be here. My name is Jeremiah Barenberg, and I am the co-founder and Colorado director of the new Colorado Israel Chamber of Commerce. We are a nonprofit organization registered in the state of Colorado. I am based here in Denver, and my co-founder and our team based in Israel is critical to this endeavor by helping us connect Colorado and Israel. And that is the mission of the Colorado Israel Chamber of Commerce. It's to advance the Colorado Israel economic relationship and to serve as a bridge between Colorado's thriving industries and Israel's world-renowned innovation ecosystem. And let me just say thank you to World Trade Center Denver and World Trade Center Institute. You've become great partners for us. I myself am a member of World Trade Center, so I encourage everyone here to consider that as well. We founded the Colorado Israel Chamber of Commerce to connect Colorado and Israel. And most of the people on this call know about why Colorado is so amazing. We have incredible industries, we have an incredible lifestyle and operating environment, we have a talented workforce, and we are at the cutting edge of so many emerging industries and longstanding industries, from bioscience to space tech to energy to quantum. So a lot of you are familiar with Colorado's expertise. Some of you may be less familiar with Israel's expertise, but let's just start by saying Israel is known as a global leader in innovation, venture capital, and startup and technology. And we hosted a panel discussion at Denver Startup Week just to talk about some of the key statistics and learn from Israel. But Israel, for those of you who may not be aware, is the 13th highest ranked country in the world for GDP per capita. Some other interesting statistics: the second largest number of startup companies in the world after the United States, the third largest number of NASDAQ listed companies after the US and China. Intel, Microsoft, Apple all built their first overseas R&D facilities in Israel. More than 400 high-tech multinational corporations have R&D centers in Israel, and Israel ranks first in the world in R&D expenditure per capita. And so with that framing, I'm just so excited to be able to feature the Bird Foundation, because I learned about the Bird Foundation about 25 years ago, and it may be one of the best kept secrets, but our job is to bring to your attention this incredible opportunity to benefit from grant funding, which is overseen by the US government, the different departments, and the Israel government. And here to tell us more about this amazing opportunity for the Colorado community to join in potential joint partnerships with Israeli counterparts to advance a particular business objective. And so with that, I just want to turn it over to Anat and Limor. And I'll just say, we'll talk later, but for those of you who'd like more information about the Colorado Israel Chamber of Commerce, you can visit our website at coloradoisrael.org. And we look forward to working on more of these opportunities to build relationships between Colorado and Israel on economics, on business development, and on innovation. So let me turn it over to Anat and Limor. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you, and welcome everyone, and thanks everyone who's joining. We're also recording it, so we're going to probably be sharing this recording later on. So my name is Anat Ben Yosef, and I'm here with my colleague Limor Nakar Vincent, who's going to take over a bit later. We're going to talk about the Bird Foundation as a great mechanism and a great opportunity for Colorado companies to grow through strategic partnerships. So Bird Foundation, Bird has nothing to do with birds. It's actually an acronym of Binational Industrial Research and Development. The foundation itself represents this partnership between the United States and Israel. Was established in 1977 to drive that technological innovation through collaborative research and development, and we've been operating successfully since then. So I think we've proved the quality of this mechanism, and we would love to see more companies from Colorado collaborate with us. So just kind of to prove my point about the performance of the foundation, since our inception, we have funded over 1,000 projects. I think we're closer to 1,200 at this point, but Limor, correct me if I'm wrong. We've invested almost $400 million that in turn generated approximately $10 billion in economic activity. So definitely a great engine of health and success and moving forward for both markets. You can read the numbers, but I think that we're also going to show you a little bit more today about real life examples about how it really works. So the bird mechanism is pretty simple. Basically, we represent the mutual interest of both governments to create that collaboration and generating more and more industrial activities in all industries throughout this vehicle. So pretty straightforward. We fund up to 50% of any kind of joint R&D venture. Of course, the process itself is a process that needs that will need you to apply for and of course win the grant. It is a competitive process, but we will offer funds of up to 50% of each R&D venture between U.S. and Israeli government, use an Israeli company. I'm sorry, and the partners, the U.S. and Israeli companies are in charge of the other 50%. You read here about repayments. I'll explain that we will only receive repayments if the project generates a commercial success. That's how we share the success, but we also share the risk, meaning that we will only ask for those repayments should you achieve that commercial success. So the bird model, generally speaking, is not just a funding model. Maybe I'll go back to the previous slide. We also help with the entire process. We help with the matchmaking mechanism. We help you find the right partner across the ocean. If you're an Israeli company that is looking for a partner in the U.S., and of course vice versa, if you're a U.S. company that is looking for a partner. We work together with you throughout the application process. We make sure you're doing everything according to what needs to be done. We're making sure that the project makes sense to all stakeholders, both governments and other stakeholders. We really walk you through the process. Definitely your success is our success and vice versa. And it's important to know that. Also, being a part of the bird ecosystem, I mentioned over 1,000 projects have been funded by Bird in the last 45 years. Definitely helps to be a part of a community, a part of an ecosystem. We help a lot beyond just that. It's not just the money. It's more about working through the entire process before, after, and even after you finished. We will definitely keep being in touch as a part of the ecosystem. So I already jumped to the next slide, just kind of to explain the model. Basically, the two partners are one Israeli company and one US company coming together on a joint venture. They apply as a proposal to us. There's a process of due diligence from our side, and then there's a board of governors that decides who receives the grant. But the idea, as I mentioned, is that we are supplying up to 50% of that project, and the other 50% is coming from the partners. Our fund is up to $1.5 million per project, and then the decision between the Israeli and American companies on how they're going to share their 50% is, of course, something that has to be, it can be decided between them. So just, I mentioned industrial research and development. It's very vast and the definition is very general, but it's actually is. We're pretty much sector agnostic. We have funded projects and we are funding projects in various sectors, as you can see, from energy to home security to cybersecurity to agrotechnology, healthcare, IT, a lot of projects in various areas of interest. Again, we are funded by the two governments. Obviously, there are a lot of interest and a lot of stakeholders that are interested in different projects. So feel free to reach out and see what kind of area of interest you have, and we'll see if we can come up with a great idea and a great part of collaboration. Currently, we have specific calls for proposals in the cybersecurity space, as you can see on the left side, with the deadline of in January 2025. You can see everything on our website. And soon enough, we're going to be publishing a new call for proposals that is more of general, if you may, quote unquote, and it is open to any kind of R&D collaborations in various areas of various industries and various areas of interest. So stay tuned. I'll definitely be posting about it. It's going to be updated on our website. Currently, we're just finalizing our previous round of applications. So it's a matter of a couple of weeks until we will be publishing a new call for proposals. If you are operating within the cybersecurity space, the opportunity is now. You can see it on the screen right now. There are specific areas and specific topics that are of interest, and I would love to talk more about it as we move forward. So definitely feel free to reach out. Just in Colorado, kind of taking it back to from the general US space to the Colorado space, as I mentioned, hundreds and hundreds of projects, over 1,000. Out of them, we had about 11 projects from Colorado throughout the years of our existence. I think for me, it means so much potential. It means that so many companies, all those companies that Jeremiah mentioned earlier, all that operating space, the potential is absolutely there. As you guys are in Colorado, you see the growth, you see the interest, you see how those areas of interest are growing, a lot of movement from other states into Colorado. Let's tap on that. Let's tap on it. Let's find those right partnerships and see how we can use this collaboration mechanism to grow even more. Today, specifically, we're going to hear from Forge Nano, which is our current grantee in the energy space. And I'm sure that you will find the story very inspiring. Yeah, so just kind of to explain what are we looking for in a project and what would be a project. As I said, we're sector agnostic, but we are looking for that synergy between two companies, really finding a whole that is greater than the sum of its parts. Really find that collaboration, really find something new, innovating, something that makes sense for the taxpayers' money to be spent on. But we're also looking for that market, that go-to-market opportunity, that potential to become commercialized. So happy to explore more and happy to talk more about it. But these are kind of our threshold conditions that we want to see when we're talking about potential projects. I think that this was very general, but I want to take it to a more real-life examples. And for this, I have Limorna Carr-Vincent here. She's going to talk about specific projects that maybe will give you a better idea of successful projects and something that can work for us.
Well, thank you, Annette. I'm actually based here in Israel, and I'm always excited to learn of new technologies and meet new people. I look at the people that actually joined us, and I see we have Barry Schwartz, whom we had the pleasure of working with him when he lived in Atlanta. We have Sam Jaffe, who is from Adionics. It's a great Israeli company, and he's based in Colorado. They've done a great project with Saint-Gobain. And I think there was another person that I think I had several years ago, Amitai, from a company called Verai, that I had talked to them about doing a bird project several years ago. So I'm glad you were able to join us. But to give you some ideas of the project that we have in mind and what type of project we're looking for. And if you can move it, I don't know if I can transfer the next slide. So I think when we're talking about funding R&D projects, we're looking at projects that span R&D from research, development, demonstration, deployment. Some of the ideas of project that we've done is what we call complementary technology project. It's, when there is two companies that have technologies that can complement one another. And that could be a project that can submit to the Bird Foundation. We would provide the R&D cost of the integrations of the project and create and support them on the way to develop new technologies. Next. For example, here is a project between an Israeli company and American company. Basically, it's GTI, it's Gas Technology Institute, that work with the Israeli company. One of the problems that they knew is that when you actually put gas pipes, plastic gas pipes underground, you don't really know exactly where you install them. And if there is a leaking problem, then you basically, especially in the urban area, you have to take everything out in order to find out, where exactly is that pipe, who is the companies who manufacture it, who put it together, who created the fusion, etc. So they tried to work on the solutions where Nortech, the Israeli company, could provide their special adhesive identification and tracking information together with the Gas Technology Institute, so they can actually track and find out exactly where the pipes are done, who are the companies that manufacture it, and this can be done in a very accurate way, so it would be easy to detect those pipes. But when those two companies started to work together, they realized, that the problem is much bigger than what they anticipated. So eventually, they were able to create a digital construction platform that enable utilities not just to track the deployments of the gas pipes, but also to basically transfer automatically all the informations that are done by these contractors of utilities and transfer them directly to the back office of the utilities. This is usually a problem because many of the utilities use subcontracting companies. In the past year, it's amazing to find out that they use pencil and paper to write all the information, and then you have to click it and put it in the system in order to transfer to the back office. And they were able to create a much bigger project than what they anticipated in the beginning. This was a very successful project because Nortech spun out a new company, GTI spun out a new company, and eventually those two companies actually merged, and now it's called LocusView, and it's a great company that employs 200 people, both in Israel and in the United States, that are working with lots of utilities in the United States to solve a major problem that they found a solution. So that's the a typical project where companies come with complementary technologies, they integrate it and create something that is completely new. Next. So here is another, example of integration project. One company has something that can be integrated to the product of the other company, and together they create something bigger than what they already had. Agriculture, the next one. In agriculture, there's lots of great technology, and precision agriculture is a topic that we are very interested in supporting. There's lack of water, lack of land. We try to food security is a major issue. And here is a project between an Israeli company called Tritoscope that works with Torah. It's a very large irrigation company. Tritoscope developed a subflow that is capable of measuring water flow within the trees itself. Usually we have different type of precision irrigation technologies, but we don't really know for sure how much the tree itself is how much water the tree itself is consuming, and based on that, we don't really necessarily know how much water the tree needs. So here they were able to develop that unique sensor that actually gives you the information about how much water the tree consumes, but with additional software and AI capabilities that conclude information from weather, satellites, etc. They are actually developing a much bigger project and integrating it with the Torah that offers innovative precision irrigation solutions for various landscape and various crops. So this is the projects where both companies had unique technology, and together they integrated to create better solutions for farmers. Next. I think it was mentioned before that the Bird Foundations, we fund different projects in different stages. Specifically, we fund We fund pilot demonstration project, but we also fund what we call milestone project. In certain sectors, we know it takes a longer time to get to the market. Yet the funding that we can offer the companies can enable them to get to the next stage where they actually get closer to commercialization. Specifically in medical devices and pharmaceutical projects, we can offer the companies to fund their clinical trials that enable them, obviously, to validate the technology and help them to get and receive the next regulatory approval, which get them closer to the market. So here we have a very successful project between Insight Tech and Ultra Focus Foundation that deals with the very major problems. I don't know if you're familiar with a disease called tremor, but it's basically a lot of people are not able to control the movements, and this is a major problem. And many patients are, unfortunately, the current medications are not able to solve the problems of all those patients of tremor. So in this case, the Bird Foundation funded the clinical trials of the device of Insight Tech, which is MR-guided focused ultrasound technology. It's a non-invasive technology, non-invasive surgery, that brain surgery that actually helps those people who suffer from tremor to basically stop the movement. We funded the clinical trials. It was very successful projects, and eventually Insight Tech and the foundations were able to bring this product to market and grow and offer a solution which is much needed in the market. So we are very much open also to funding clinical trials, whether it's in Israel or United States, and we'll be more than happy also to support you on your journey to develop technology and get the regulatory approval and bring it to the patient. So I think from here, the most important thing is really to listen to the Colorado-based company, Forge Nano. They can actually share their journey. It's a great Colorado-based company, and I'd love to pass the torch to Jamie, who can tell you more about the company and the partnership.
Yeah,
sounds good. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, and thank you so much. Yeah, I thought I'm always thinking about how am I explaining things in real life. So we were so honored and lucky to have such a great partner with Forge Nano, that they are based in Thornton, Colorado. I was actually visiting them earlier this year, and it's a really big and interesting facility. And that partnership is something that we take a lot of pride in, and we would love to see more companies all around Colorado. It doesn't have to be in the big cities, doesn't have to be in, specific areas of expertise. So thank you, Jamie, for joining us. And that's the project that we want to talk about a little bit. I would love to hear a little bit more about the companies, I'm sure everyone else. So the floor is definitely yours. Let me start your presentation. Yeah.
All right, thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me. So again, my name's Jamie Dumont. I am a research scientist, a senior scientist at Forge Nano. I'm also the principal scientist leading our grant programs at Forge through the Bird and Bird Energy Foundation. So I'm here today to give everyone a little bit of background about our company and tell you about, how the Bird Foundation is, really helping us to develop high quality collaborations in Israel, and how these collaborations have really opened up unique opportunities, helping us towards better products, better pathways towards commercialization. And hopefully by telling you about our story, it will encourage everyone here to think about applying to some of these unique foundations that opportunities that the Bird Foundation offers. So let's quickly go over a little bit about us. We are Forge Nano. We are a materials engineering company. We specialize in a thin film deposition technique called atomic layer deposition. Our company was founded in 2011. As Anat said, we're located in Thornton, Colorado, very close to Denver. Currently about 120 employees, but that number continues to grow. So our core business is really about differentiating products across all different types of application spaces, improving those products, and then commercializing them via different pathways, which I'll get into in the next slide. Stay on the previous slide for a second. I know this isn't a technical talk, but being a scientist, I thought it might be useful just to give a little cartoon of what I'm talking about, just so you can picture in your head how this technique works. So this is a sequential gas phase process that allows us to grow very, very thin films with tight control. So you can think of a bricklaying analogy, which I show here on the right. We do this AB type sequence, just like you stack layers of bricks. And that allows us to get very thin protective films on surfaces of all shapes and sizes. So you can think about very thin films coating a trench structure or surrounding a particle, which is very important in batteries, or surrounding a nanofiber. And then you can go to the next slide. And so around this core principle of atomic layer deposition, we offer many different types of products and services. So we do a lot of material development, material coding for customers. They come to us, they have this problem that can be solved with interfacial engineering. And so we do development work with them. If we come across some type of successful technology, we also have the ALD equipment available to take that technology from the small scale to the commercial scale. So from grams of powder all the way to tons per year of powder. We have a proven pathway to make that happen. And then last but not least, especially within the Bird Foundation platform, is lithium-ion battery technology. So we find, if you know anything about lithium-ion batteries, you know that that this technology suffers from a lot of interfacial issues. Whether your electrolyte is interacting with your cathode and anode materials, or maybe your materials are swelling, ALD offers a lot of solutions in this space. So Forge Nano is investing heavily here. We're putting in a lot of resources to develop lithium-ion batteries. Not only are we installing a megawatt-hour line in our facility in Thornton, Colorado, but we're also developing a gigawatt line out in North Carolina. Next slide. And so within the space of lithium-ion batteries, this is a global issue. And it's going to require global cooperation, material innovation, and development. So what I have here on this slide is kind of our roadmap, or the world's roadmap of where lithium-ion batteries need to go in order to solve a lot of the issues that the world is under these energy constraints. So on the left, I just have battery energy density values. So in 2000, maybe we're at 200 watt hours per kg. But by 2030, we're going to have to, go from 300 upwards to 400 watt hours per kg. And this is going to require a lot of innovation, and especially within just the bare raw materials that we're putting into our batteries. So this is where I really think that the Bird Foundation offers unique opportunities, because you can really develop high quality partnerships with institutes in Israel, and you have the opportunity to develop some more riskier, more disruptive R&D that can really allow you to make bigger jumps in the roadmap for whatever technology that you are developing. So a little bit of background on our introduction to the Bird Foundation. We were first part of a very large consortium that was developing solid state batteries. And this was a 5-year project, and this spanned all across the US and many different sites in Israel. And so what this kind of represented was, within the solid state battery space, you had a lot of industrial partners, as well as small companies in Israel, small companies in the US, and a lot of universities. And so it kind of had this funneling outline where you develop a lot of really neat and interesting things at the small scale in the universities, and then those would funnel into your industrial partners. And so I wanted to mention this project because we got very close with some of our partners here. And as Anat and Limor were talking about, we were able to find which partners really complemented what we were doing at Forge Nano. And so we became quite close with Bar Ilan University, a professor named Malachi Noked. So he was doing kind of a sister technique to atomic layer deposition called molecular layer deposition. And being a university, he has a lot of interesting techniques, a lot of interesting instrumentation that we just don't have access to. And so if you go to the next slide, this was when we became aware of the Bird Energy Foundation, just as Limor and Anat were describing. And so we went in, we paired with Bar Ilan University. And what was really great about this proposal call is, you have this kind of wide array of, it needs to be in the energy sector, but you really get to specify what type of technique or what type of technology that you're wanting to develop. So we chose silicon anodes, as I mentioned on that previous slide. Moving to silicon anodes in the lithium-ion battery space is going to be very important. So we put together a proposal to advance silicon in our cell formulations using some of the techniques that Bar Ilan is developing. And we were awarded that award with Bar Ilan, and we're just about 6 months into it now. And then on the next slide, so, besides all of the budgeting and the technical reports that you have to do, there's obviously real people behind all of the science. And so I just want to highlight all of the unique opportunities, all of the high quality partnerships and the friendships that you form when you're working with people, very far away. So these are just some images from our all hands meetings. You can see us over here in Jerusalem. You can see our partners from Israel over here in Washington, D.C. It's really been a unique opportunity, and I hope everyone here takes advantage of what they have to offer. Thanks so much.
That's great. I love to hear that story. I think that some of it I wasn't aware of, so thanks for sharing. And we did want to talk a little bit more. I think that you did go over a lot of my questions, but I would love to hear a little bit more about the process. I think that a lot of companies and maybe some of the people who are listening to us today are not sure kind of how to even start, or does my project or does my company is a good fit for a bird project. I know that you guys came maybe on one avenue, and there are other avenues, and I'm happy to share more, but maybe you can share about your process from finding out about it, from the inception, from the understanding that this is something that Forge Nano would be interested in spending the resources. So maybe just about that process from business side.
Yeah. So if we had a unique opportunity working in that very large grant consortium to meet a lot of Israeli companies first and foremost. And so there are probably a lot of people on this call that are interested, but they're like, I don't know who to partner with. I don't know what opportunities there are in Israel. And so I think that would be probably the biggest challenge first to overcome, is you have to find a partner. And I think Limor and Anat, you guys were so helpful in the initial meetings that we were having. Even though we kind of knew we wanted to work with Bar Ilan University, you guys came with 50 other options. How about this company? How about this company? Have you heard of this company? And I think we were getting emails from you guys for, a couple weeks there. So I would say that the Bird Foundation is first and foremost going to help you with that first obstacle, which is, who do I partner with? Who's complementary to what I'm trying to do? And then the rest of it is pretty similar to other, grants that once you find a partner, then it's developing a concept, developing a work scope, coming up with a budget, who's going to prime this. And I think you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think the industrial partner is actually the one that has to prime it. Perhaps?
Yeah, it depends on the type of collaboration, but obviously, like every relationship, someone's leading more, I guess. But
Yeah.
It's really important to highlight that collaboration.
Yeah. Okay. And so yeah, that has to be kind of a part of the conversation with whatever partner you choose to go with. Then I guess what's a little bit different is that there's two reviewing entities. And so you're going to have one in the US and one in Israel. And the way that they review is going to be slightly different. And I'll go into that a little bit. The proposal has two main parts. You're going to have the written documentation half. You'll have to have budgets from both institutes. There are payback requirements for the grants when you have successful commercialization, and Limor mentioned that previously. So you're going to have cash flow documents to show the ability to pay back the obligation under the grant requirements. And then what was a little bit different for us was the presentation half. So our technical proposal went to the US, and they have more of just like a standard, they're reading it, they're giving you feedback. But in the Israeli component, they wanted to have an in-person interview, which was quite lengthy, 2 to 3 hours. They allow you to make a PowerPoint, at least in our instance. I don't know if it's in every instance. They allowed us to make a PowerPoint, kind of trying to sell them on what we were presenting. And so that's a little bit different from some of the other grants that we've applied to. And the other part that's a little bit different is the length of your technical document. There's no page limit, which you think that makes it easier, but sometimes it can make it more difficult when you're just let loose. Yes, so the unlimited
I think
page.
we've changed that since then.
Okay.
I think it's a very good point that you've made, and we took it into account. And I think now it's limited to 60 pages, just so you know.
Okay.
So we definitely take the feedback that we get from the
Okay, so
company.
you have a limit now.
Yes, we do.
And so the other thing that was a little bit different was just the interview process, which it's not a bad thing. It was just different, and it definitely forces you to practice your selling ability.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's what different, maybe with the Bird Foundation and maybe other similar opportunities, but it's not a VC, or we're not a bank. It's not just about a funding ROI mechanism, but it's actually a mutual interest of both governments. So we're looking for this collaboration, but we're also looking what's behind it and how can we expand this product and this project into the greater good to some extent. I know it's a little far out there, but it makes sense. We are representing the governments. It's a really nice idea that was, dreamt upon 45 years ago, and we are trying to really continue to serve the both governments and the people that they represent. So we want to see ideas and joint ventures that will lead to commercial success, great success of both companies, and great success for the areas where they're based. So more jobs for more people, more positive growth in the two markets. And I think this maybe is a bit different than applying for specific grants or finding investors, because it's not always just about the dollar signs. It's also about how can we make this something that is greater than just this project. And this is where we're at. And I know that you're Jamie, you're a scientist and you come from this technical background. So I know that for you is it's something that is a bit different, but I think we're all marketers and we're all marketing ourselves. So it's a great experiment also to think, why are we doing what we're doing and what's behind that? So
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that you mentioned it. It makes so much sense. So that was kind of, and again, if you wanted to say something else about the process before, but maybe if you want to share just a little bit about what's happening now during the time of the project, and how are you foreseeing that added value of the Bird grant for your future endeavors or for your future growth, if you can already see it or planning on it.
Yeah, I think one of the things, and I kind of mentioned this before, that is very unique about these funding calls is how open they are. Most grant funding calls, they have very specified buckets. Oh, it has to be about this material, or it has to be about that material. And here it's kind of a wide open, you tell us what's important, and we'll decide if we think it's important too. And so, I gave kind of the overview of the company, and we are investing very heavily in lithium-ion battery. Malahi's group in Tel Aviv is doing similar. We have very complementary ways of coming to the same conclusion, and so it was very freeing just to say, okay, we want calls in the general energy sector, and so we chose silicon because silicon is directly on our roadmap, and so all of the work that we're doing with Bar Ilan University is directly impacting work that we wanted to do anyways. But it allows us to do a little bit more riskier and high impact work that maybe we wouldn't have gotten to do otherwise. And so, we're only 6 months in, but we're learning a lot already. And if we're successful in some of the metrics that we put into the proposal, that directly impacts work that, the next generation of our lithium-ion batteries that are already going to market.
Great. So maybe building on that, if one of our guests here today that are listening, or future potential partners, how would you, or if you would recommend, maybe what would be a good motivation to join such a process? It's not an easy project, and maybe also, if you don't mind, and we'll be happy to hear about the downside, maybe, the process is, you mentioned, very, very deep with the application. Or, I mean, what if someone would have approached you and said, what do you think about this opportunity? Can you give us some tips and tricks?
Yeah, if we could do this all over again, we would do it in a heartbeat. I think that they allow you a lot of freedom to explore things that you want to explore. You get to set the agenda, which I said is kind of a very unique thing in the grant world. There aren't, the application process, was a little bit laborious in, we've never had to do like a 4-hour interview, but like, as we just discussed, it was a good exercise in the end. And so it forces you to learn some things that you maybe wouldn't have learned otherwise. There is some back and forth, working with the different accounting teams on all the different countries that can prove some difficulties, but it's nothing that we haven't done before. We have a pretty big accounting team here that helps us with that. So yeah, I don't have too much negative to say, I don't think, which is good.
Which is great. We're happy to hear
that. And maybe, I guess what I'll add is, don't just take a couple interviews. If you get a list of projects from Lemoore or Anat of different companies, interview as many as you can and really try and find somebody that you have good chemistry with and that you have good alignment with. We feel really close with our partners at Bar-Ilan University now. I consider them friends. And I think that's a really important part of a successful project, finding somebody you have good not only good alignment technologically, but good human chemistry as well can really be helpful to these longer term grants.
Yeah, I agree. Limor, do we have any questions from the audience already that maybe for Jamie?
I think most of them we've kind of responded.
Okay.
Just to reiterate, the funding for the Bird Foundation comes from the U.S. government and the Israeli government, and therefore we can only fund R&D costs that are spent in Israel and United States. We're unable to fund anything that is done in the third countries. So I wanted to reiterate that. Our call for proposal, as Anat mentioned before, we are hopefully going to publish it after December. So please be in touch with us. Beyond the Bird General program that enabled us to fund projects in different areas, we also have the Bird call for proposal in cybersecurity that is currently open. We are hoping to publish the Bird Homeland Security call for proposal hopefully soon. And then we have the Bird Energy program. So definitely stay in touch with us. It takes time to find a partner. But if you're interested, we'll be more than happy to make those introductions for you in the Israeli market, also in the US market for Israeli companies. I've seen that there's at least 1 or 2 Israeli companies that joined this meeting here. But our goal is really to promote the US-Israel economic relationship through those partnerships that develop new technologies, new innovative technologies, and commercialize it. That brings great impact on both the US and the Israeli economy. So, if you have any other questions, Jeremiah, feel free to join.
Thank you. And thank you for that great presentation, Limor and Anat and Jamie, for explaining how it actually works on the ground. I think what I heard you say, which really caught my eye, was the building of relationships and connections to your Israeli counterparts. And I think that is what this is all about. And it's also what the Colorado Israel Chamber of Commerce is all about. And I just want to supplement, Limor, your point about helping Colorado companies find partnerships in Israel. And that is exactly what we do as well. So we are also in partnership with you to support the bird opportunity in Colorado. And we will be working in concert with you to promote the bird grant across Colorado and to also help interested Colorado applicants to navigate the process, but to also help you find potential counterpart partners in Israel. And that is done through our offices, the Colorado Israel Chamber of Commerce team in Israel, who's not on the call today with us because it's 9 hours later, even though Limor is. But we'll be working with you, Limor and Anat, to also our team in Israel to help find partners for Colorado entities. But I did just have one question for Jamie, unless someone else from the audience has a question. But Jamie, as I mentioned, we're going to try and promote the bird grant more broadly across Colorado by working to develop sort of a steering group to empower entities across Colorado to sort of educate their stakeholders, their members, their constituents, their communities about this opportunity. It's money on the table, and Colorado should be taking advantage of it, especially in the industry sectors that Colorado is becoming or already is so strong in. So we are developing those contacts with, Grand Junction Economic Chamber of Commerce, the Colorado Springs Chamber of Commerce, the Colorado Technology Association, and all of them have members and companies that could take advantage of this. So my question to you is, how can we better get the word out, whether it's about Forge Nano's success in this space or the opportunity to take advantage of this opportunity for more Colorado companies?
And just before you unmute yourself, I'm going to dial back to the list of names of all of our presenters because someone asked how to reach out. So of course, we'll be sending it out later, but these are us, and you can either email us or find us online, or we'll do it after the fact. We'll send you a recording. So we're here. We want to hear from you. So definitely happy to hear from you. Sorry, Jamie. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. So your question is just how to get the word out better about these opportunities. That might be a better question for somebody that's in the marketing department, but just little things maybe like getting all of the people, all these success stories to start, chatting more about this on social media, on LinkedIn. I know that LinkedIn is for better or worse, where a lot of people get this type of information. I know that we highlight particularly the bird funding in all of our conferences that we go to, any win that we have in these projects, especially that large consortium that I mentioned previously, we're always, and maybe you guys could make this a requirement in the fine print, to highlight the bird consortium in any papers that are published or in any patents or in any presentations that you give at larger conferences. That can really get the word out as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think that it's a win-win situation. I think we are all, as entities that are operating either here in the US or in Israel, it's a good opportunity and everyone's entitled to even know about it. So it's a mutual mission to win-win, both for us to be known, but also for potential partners to know about this opportunity. Great. Limor, anyone else in the chat? I can't, or we're good. All right. Well, we're trying to be very respectful of the time. I'm looking at my watch because Tori was very like, this is a lunch and learn and it ends at 1. So I don't want to take a lot of everyone's time. But Tori, if you want to say a couple of words for, I know a lot of the people who are here with us today are part of the World Trade Center in Denver, and maybe some people are interested now to learn more about the opportunities. Just kind of a couple of words maybe from your side, and unless there are any more comments, it's been great. It's been really, really great. Thank you for the opportunity to present to your audience.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us and for presenting about this. I'll send out a follow-up email to everyone, and so I'll include your email addresses and way to contact everyone. And then if anybody has questions, they can always follow up if you think of something later on. So with that, yeah, thank you. And we'll have the recording available as well. So in case anyone missed it, we can always provide that link too. Well, okay, thank you so much. Have a great afternoon, and thanks again.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.